All right, what's up, guys? Today is Wednesday, the 12th of January, 2022. Made a couple mistakes today. I was just a bit pissed off at myself for it, but it is what it is. Let's go break them down, and so we can learn from it and continue on. So first thing I wanted to do was show the Telegram to show you to be transparent. Obviously, I'm not trying to be anything I'm not here. So you can see that my analysis was initially at the beginning of the day that I was looking at. We had this beautiful consolidation, this sweep on Asia, break back down, mitigate back up there, and then we went back down. So I was anticipating that this low was going to get run because we broke that low as well, this degree low, and we broke back up, mitigated, and we broke through here. As soon as we started moving off that, I was like, okay, potentially we're going to come back down into the daily midpoint of the OB, and there's a 4-hour OB there. Also, a lot of imbalance there. And there was a nice support and resistance level here. So that was my key. That was my thinking in the beginning of the day. Let me find, what was the next one? And then as soon as we started rejecting this, I started saying, okay, well, this I think is a failed swing point right here, where we had a low, we had a high, we had a low, but we failed to break through that. And so now it's starting to build price act or build some bullish momentum, right? Or it's building some structure to the upside on the lower timeframes. And then I thought for sure that this was going to take out this high now. Like this is what I said. I said, I'm favoring the second option, which was to sweep London's high liquidity there and into that zone. And then from there, we can start to see it potentially fall down. So that's where I was essentially wrong, but I was basing it off of this, the daily structure here, where you can see daily break and structure. And we had this corrective move back up here. And I said that this was the potential. It didn't mean that it was going to get down to there, but I said at least it was probably going to get back down into around these levels right here, right? Where this little imbalance was. And I figured that because this is going to be the structure where we had a sweep, we had a break of structure here. So we had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is the 4-hour structure. We're in a daily structure, high and low here. So this is going to be our trading range right here. Okay. Since we're at the very premium of this point, I thought that at least we were going to get some sort of pull back into this imbalance here. But one of the things that I did neglect, and you can see in that initial drawing, was that I only marked out the midpoint of the OB of the daily order block right here. I didn't mark out the actual high of it, which was literally right at this level. And so that was one of the mistakes that I made. But as you can see, we ended up breaking through, targeting the higher liquidity. As I mentioned, is a possibility in one of the other videos. So yeah, let me just close that out now. But yeah, it was an easy, the thing today was an easy read on the day, and I missed it. And I think that's what infuriated me. It's something that I know, and I just kind of neglected it. And I don't know, it just kind of, I got too engaged in price or in my bias again, which, maybe it's because it was the holidays and I took a bunch of time off, but it just seems like the last couple of days, it's again, too engaged in my bias as opposed to just reading what's going on in price and then adapting and being fluid with the market. So it's my own issues, but I just got to solve them so I can move on and finish off January strong, considering we're already halfway through it. Okay, so yeah, let's just start out from the monthly perspective here, and let's just do a top down. First of all, we have this trading range right here, right? We have to be aware of that on the higher time frame. We know that we break structure, break structure, break structure. Okay, well now we have this clean leg right here. We move up, we consolidate here, and now we're going to get a feed right back down into here. Okay, now 50% of this point is right here. So now we are in discount of that price swing. Well, where is any point of interest in that in discount, right? Any discount point of interest? Well, here's one right here. Let's mark that off with that. Okay, so that's going to be our hidden order block essentially that broke up, and you can see that this is really our breaker block right here. Okay, so we have a breaker block right here on the monthly, plus we have a hidden base right there. Okay, why is that hidden, or why is that a breaker block? Well, because you can see here we broke down. This was the last low, and then there was a failure to create a lower low, right? Yeah, these wicks, you can say created a lower low, but the reality is on the monthly time frame, it didn't. It failed to create a lower low and immediately consumed, and we zipped through it, and now we're just returning to that. So this right here is actually our breaker block. the one that I just highlighted out there, okay? And that's the reason why, is because we failed to create a lower low. You can see that this one mitigated, these wicks mitigated this order block down here, and then that's what caused it. But essentially, that's the logic of it, where this didn't break any low, and now failed to create a lower low, which means that this is going to be the weak high. Boom. So you can see that as soon as it starts failing, then you can target this high on that's the next play on liquidity. So right here is exactly why this level is a key level. Okay, so let's go to the weekly. Again, we can actually just refine the entry or refine the zone, right? Instead of having this whole breaker block, you can see that realistically, you can see this is the last down candle. You can do the both of them, but just because I know that it already went down there, I'll just, you know what? No, I'll just keep it on this one. So you know that we're in the discount of the monthly price swing. You can see now on the weekly, obviously we're in a downtrend as well, but we have some serious pockets of inefficiency that need to get filled up. First of all, it's going to be right here. And actually, let me just mark it out with the box. Okay, so this is the hidden base, just like we put right here. And then alternatively, sorry, on the monthly, there's another one right here. I'll just mark out the whole candle for this one, okay? So there you go. We have this level and we have this level, pockets of imbalance and inefficiency within them, okay? So you can see bounce beautifully off that level. And you can see right here, as soon as we get into this level, we have to be looking for longs, right? Which I was when price was within this level, I was looking at longs. Now, what happened on the weekly here? You can see, look at this weekly order block right there. Okay. You can see that from this level, we broke above, we broke this interim high right here. Okay. What do I mean by interim high? Well, look at this. We have a low, we have a high, we have a higher low, we have a higher high, we have a higher low, we have a higher high. Okay, so we're building this bullish structure to fill up imbalance. And I think eventually it's going to come back down here and run these levels, but we'll see. We'll let it play out instead of trying to predict. We can just anticipate. This is going to be the first areas that sells could potentially come in, but we have to understand that this is going to be the first level. Okay. But anyways, that's more in the future. We're talking about what happened today, which is going to be this candle today. All right. And so this is kind of where the beginning of my bias kind of to fall apart and what went wrong. So first of all, what I was looking for is, because this is a break of daily structure right here. And this was a sweep. And this was a sweep here. Again, valid, 100% valid. Really good. However, the part where it starts to diminish, and I honestly had this feeling yesterday too, when it was happening, or when this candle closed as it did, I was like, this looks like it's going to go rinse these highs. It looks like it's going to rinse these highs, fill up this imbalance, and finally get up to here. But again, just one of those things just completely neglected today. But again, it's all good. What can you do? It already happened, so now you just got to learn from it. But yeah, here, let me actually just take off. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. One more. There we go. So just from today's price action, essentially, this is the daily range now, right? This box right here, because we had a consolidation, we had a sweep up, we broke back down on the daily. This is daily structure right here that broke. So when we get back up into this level, you're anticipating a sell-off. And you can see at 50% of this order block here, you can see we got up to there and we had this massive sell-off. There was like a 70 pip, 80 pip sell-off right here on Monday. But what ended up happening? We move right down, we take out these lows and immediately retrace back up or come back up and close above the weekly order block and above this little daily order block as well. So now you're thinking, okay, it's probably going to be a bullish day, right? Which again is something that we anticipated yesterday. But what I anticipated was that what was going to happen is it was going to come a little bit deeper down into this wick before going up, right? 50% of this wick before it was going to start going up. That was the idea from yesterday. But so after this candle close like this should be a telltale sign that we're looking at bullishness right here. It clearly cannot get lower. It rejected, and now we're closing up and we're making higher highs and higher lows on even on the daily, right? Each candle you're making higher highs, higher lows on the daily. Okay. This one actually was just a little bit of a sweep a liquidity sweep, a little bit of manipulation, and there was divergence on these days, and then it went. But you can see here, so now we have a new daily order block. And so this is where, yeah, this is where I went wrong. So I marked out the daily order block there, and then actually I didn't mark out the daily order block because I thought it was going to come deeper. Again, it was just my bias again, thinking it's going to go deeper into the range when in reality it didn't. And so daily, the midpoint of the order block like that. And so if that's the case, well, then we have a monthly high right here, right? This is going to be December. This is December's high. And then this was the previous week's high right here. So we have liquidity pooling to the upside, and these are going to be points where that are going to be targets on liquidity. And you can see we are pulling them up here. You can see how close they are. And then we had a daily high, right? A previous day high right here. If I just mark that right there, it's going to not show up on this time frame, but that's okay. But you can see that there's multiple areas of liquidity just pooling right here being used. What I should have anticipated was that to reach up into this imbalance to get up to that point where I was aware that price was looking to reach up to there anyways, especially after, look what happens. We hit this level, right? A weekly / monthly level. What happens? We have a daily break in structure right here. This is the daily order block. And again, this is where I was looking for longs. And I actually took a couple from here, but again, got stopped out once. And then I just took like a day trade here in December. But you can see we break that structure, we mitigate it, boom, higher high there. So now this is going to be the last down candle. You know, we break up into it, go 50% of it, mitigate it, and now it goes. So the actual price action was bullish, even though we did break daily structure. This would have been, and if I go to the 4 hour, from here, like on Monday, if it were going to continue down, it should have done that on Monday, where we mitigated this level. There was divergence here, and then that should have went to go sweep these levels. But the fact that we came down here and then Monday closed by sweeping and then consuming and then leaving that 4 hour order block, that in itself should have been a telltale sign that, okay, we're ready to go back up and start to target some highs. And again, which is why I was looking for long, or I was looking for shorts at the beginning of the day yesterday, down to around a little bit lower actually into the midpoint of this 4 hour order block at 3118. That was my initial target. But it was, again, something I neglected on that time or on that day as well. So anyways, as you can see, daily order block, daily midpoint. And this is what I was really aiming for today, because I saw this. I saw that this was just a clear, these two candles was an order block. We had a nice sweep there. So I figured we were going to break this liquidity up here, right? Because look what happens. We have a high, we have a low, we break above that high. And what happens? You consolidate back into internal structure, right? Break out of this high into external liquidity, grab it, break back internal to this structure, right? Break back up above. And so as soon as it broke up above again that time, what I anticipated is that we were going to, again, come back deep into internal structure, or maybe not deep, but at least down to here. And that was just, I should have been more aware of this daily order block here. Like this was the open of it. You can see it's a nice actually support and resistance level, which sometimes they work, and they work when, you know, they're daily order blocks and when they're, you know, higher time frame key POIs essentially. But you can see also too, the monthly high, those are equal highs right there. So again, should have been a little bit more aware of that. And yeah, this is what I was looking at initially right here, was that this was going to hold. And then this was going to be where the retracement happened, which is, again, is fine. Great thinking, great logic. In my opinion, there's two equal highs here. This could have easily retraced back down deeper. However, I just had to adapt to it during the day, which I didn't end up doing, which again, is a little bit infuriating, but it is what it is. On the 1 hour, you can see on the 1 hour, we're just bullish as hell. We had this sweep, this break of structure right here. So we had this 1 hour order block that lines up beautifully with that weekly order block. So that was induced by this level. So you can see that this is our 1 hour structure one. And that's why I ultimately thought that we were going to get back down into discount of this 1 hour price swing. And I thought that right here and right here was this support and resistance liquidity that I thought price was going to target into this imbalance right here. And then we were going to go. So again, the logic was there, but it just, I needed to adapt during the day. And I'll tell you why it didn't work out, or I'll tell you where I could have adapted and the mistake that I made on the daily cycle instead. So let's just let this play out. Okay. So I'll show you what happened on this is the textbook daily cycle. Okay. And this is something that, again, I overlooked today, where you have this consolidation here, right? In Asian session. And then what happens? Look at this low, right? Look what time it comes in at, 145. This is Frankfurt low. It does a minor sweep on liquidity. We have a breakup. Look what the high of really the early open sessions are, right? We have a high at 4 a.m. So between 3 and 4, typically that's going to be your high of the day or your low of the day, depending on the cycle. But that's where that sweep happens. So again, if you revert to any of like ICT's free teachings on YouTube, you'll see that he talks about AMD, accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. Okay. That manipulation will typically set in at between 3 and 4 a.m. Okay. And then, well, you can actually say between 2 and 4 a.m. we'll say, okay, 2 and 4 a.m., 2:30 and 4 a.m., around that time. And then look what happens. You get a breakdown. So this is your distribution. What do you expect pre-New York? Expect a pullback, take out some interim high here, mitigate some imbalance right there. Perfect. And then go down. So this one was a textbook sell model right here on the day. And so this is where I kind of messed up. And let me just fast forward here because I want to show you where I messed up. Okay. It's right here. So what do we have here? We have a consolidation, clear consolidation, right? Clear consolidation. And I anticipated that this was the sweep that was the move down to bring it back down, which again, it made sense from right here, right? And then it tagged it, and then it went, and then it broke this low. But the fact that we couldn't sustain that now makes me anticipate that, well, what happened here? Or I should have been rethinking, like, what happened here? Well, we had this consolidation, we had a sweep, a shallow sweep to the upside, and then a real sweep, a big sweep that went down. Look what time it is, 3 a.m., right? 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. is when that sweep comes in. Where does it go down to mitigate? Or where does it go? It mitigates this candle right here, which again is at that daily order block. This is just a refinement of that. This is the last imbalance that could be filled on the on this time frame, right? And so what ends up happening, if that's the case, if this is the consolidation here, if this is the manipulation, then what are we expecting? Well, we're expecting a distribution, right? We're expecting the distribution to get back up to around to these levels. Well, ultimately, we were anticipating it to get back up to there, which is going to be about probably what, 2 or 3 standard deviations of that sweep leg, roughly. Okay. But anyways, won't go into that now. So that's where I messed up, right? Was because I should have anticipated, because this was the thing, this is what happened at 3 a.m. This was that shallow sweep, and it's Frankfurt high. Frankfurt high or Frankfurt low usually gets rated, right? You can see it right here. There's Frankfurt high right there and Frankfurt low right there. Look what happens. Gets rated. That happens all the time. Let me find you another example from this type of daily move. Okay, so we have a consolidation here. What happens? Low. Look at that, between 2:30, like I said, 2 and 3 to 5 a.m. We get that low of the day. What happens? It comes back up and targets that liquidity. We get a retracement. So we have consolidation, accumulation, manipulation, and then the displacement there, correction, another displacement, last one, and then that's the daily cycle right there, right? Just like we did here. Accumulation, manipulation, distribution, retracement, distribution. Accumulation, manipulation, distribution, retracement, distribution. Okay, like that's textbook. And so that happens at 3 a.m. And so the timing is such an important factor. And it's something that, again, something I know deeply. I don't know what happened. I was just not obviously thinking about that. I was just so in my own head about how this was for sure the sweep. And I was like, oh yeah, like we're going to go down. And again, it would have made sense, right? Because we did have a nice consolidation, a sweep, a breakdown in structure. And then we had this right here. And again, just like this day, right, where we had this little high in here that needed to get manipulated first before the downside. Same thing that happened here, right? We had this high that gets manipulated into this level before the downside, right? So it made sense. But as soon as we break this low and as soon as we fail to break that low and to continue down, that's when I have to start looking and changing my bias to say, okay, well, this is holding. And so therefore the bullish structure is still in line. So that means this is going to be the weak high. If that's the weak high, that means we shouldn't be looking for shorts at a weak high. We look for shorts at a strong high. And so that's where I went wrong today. And so if we look at the 5-minute, you can see again, previous day high was rated in Asia and Frankfurt there. But you can see as soon as we break structure rate, this was a 15-minute break in structure, a 15 and 5. Which candle rated or which candle led to that break in structure? It was this one here. So this is a beautiful sell opportunity, right? If this, let me just mark this out. If you're trading London, this was gorgeous, right? You had this consolidation, you had your manipulation, you had your distribution. You can see here that you had a nice inducement right here, pretty far in proximity, sorry. But that's all good. You can see right here too, Asian lows gets tagged. You can see this inducement right down here for this level. I was actually anticipating, I actually had this POI refined down to here, but it just front run. But anyways, if I was looking at this right here, where this is the consolidation, sweep, and then break back down, well, then when we start consolidating in price, this is going to be my weak low to target. This is going to be my strong high. This is going to be my point of interest. It could get back up to here, mitigate somewhere up in here, and then go down. However, because this is the order block here, this whole traffic level, the one that broke structure and broke significant structure. So it broke 15-minute structure, and then it broke this 1 hour structure plus Asian range. So you know that this was a serious area of where liquidity was injected into the market. You can also see that with the candles, right? Just a couple of big candles that right in a row. So you know that there was a serious injection on liquidity right there. So again, yeah, it comes back down to mitigate this level. And then what happens? We have a little break of structure. So as soon as it tags this level, what happens? We have a break of structure here. All right, clear, consolidation, sweep, break up. Again, this is the order block that led to a significant price move. And you can see that it broke structure as well. So as soon as price reverts back down to this level, this can be taken, right? Price can be taken from here. Again, it's going to be this whole candle, but just showing you where the bulk of the volume is going to be. It's going to be right there. Again, you can actually see how flat this bottom is because that's where the liquidity was injected, right at that candle right there. There was no wick down, no nothing. It was injected there and it went up to go search for liquidity, which it found some right here, right? It found some right here. Actually, you can modify that just to be above here and just in that wick imbalance. Okay, so look at, there's a reason why it tests right back down at that level, is because that's where the liquidity was injected. So it needs to go gather some more, right? That order potentially didn't get fully entered into the market, right? So what happens? The banking algorithm, the repricing algorithm will make price, will push price back down, fill up this void, and essentially allow institutional orders to get fully filled at the price point that they wanted to get fully filled at, right? So essentially that's what happens. And that's what caused that right there. Push prices back up. Again, this is where you could have entered. So you could have entered long there. Where to? Anywhere above this high now. Okay, you could have taken some partials there, but ultimately we're looking at this block right here. Okay, this whole thing is something you could have been looking at, right? Whole thing you could have been looking at there. Then what happens? You have this high right here. You have a break of structure right there. And if it's not clear, you can go in the 1 minute. I can just tell on this time frame that that's what it is. Yeah, you can see that. Okay. So just like that. Let's go back on the 5 minute though. Back on the 5 minute. You can see here that this was the last block, right? This is where price was, or where caused that sweep in mitigation. Immediate consumption, we break back down, break structure. So this is going to be a good level to be eyeing positions. You can see, look at that. It gets down there right to the pip. Again, orders were pushed into the market, takes out this low. Now, At this point, you could have assumed that it was going to go lower. You could have assumed that it was going to get back down to here at least before continuing up. But again, remember, we're in that daily order block. The midpoint of the order block was down here. Again, you could have anticipated that you were going to get back down to here as well. Okay. But after seeing that this failed to create a lower low, and then what happens on this time frame? Well, you have a break in 5-minute structure right here. Okay. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it should have held and then continued down. It didn't, right? It didn't. So what was the one that created that break in structure? Well, you have this level right here, right? This whole zone right here is the one that caused that break in structure on the 5-minute. Now, if we go down to the 1-minute, so at this point, you can start to say to yourself, well, if that's the case, if this was a failure to create a lower low, well, then that means at least we're going to come take out this high. And if we're going to take out this high, can I get into positions in and along here if there's some sort of entry and it lines up with our daily order block? So again, we have daily, we have a daily point of interest here that can support these longs. And so this is something that just I neglected today. But again, let's see if we can see something interesting here. And the reality is that, yeah, you can, right? You have a 5-minute break in structure here. You actually have another 5-minute break in structure right here. You have a 1-minute break in structure right here. Okay. So all of these structure breaks are telling you that, okay, it's probably going to be a failed attempt to create a lower low. And so what ends up happening is this. Just like we saw with the Asian session, we can see that we have a consolidation here, right? Look what happens. Consolidation, manipulation, distribution, right? So that manipulation comes right back down into, this was the POI. It can be refined further into here again, right? Or if you wanted to just be like smart about it, or not so as aggressive, you can say this was the candle that swept liquidity, this black candle here. This was this mitigation block before. So my stop would go under here because this should be the strong low, right? And again, if you wanted to refine that, you could just refine it down to here is what I would do. Because you had this consolidation here, right? This little up candle, swift down move, immediate consumption, retest of that, then go up. So you can be looking at somewhere around here. And then again, with this order block there, you can be going from there. So again, you could have easily entered from either the top of that or right here, stop below here, because you have consolidation, manipulation, back down into that zone. And now you're anticipating the next part of the cycle, which is going to be a distribution. Okay. So that was the first entry that you could have taken. If that was a little bit too aggressive, then what you could have done is wait for the next one and look again what we have the next one. And this is where I was actually looking for longs, or like not looking for longs, but I was like, wow, this is going to go up, and definitely it's going to go rinse that high there, was when I saw this. Okay. We had this exact same thing where we had this high, or sorry, this order block here. Why is it an order block? Well, we have 3 consecutive down close candles. We have a consolidation, 3 consecutive down close candles, and then up. It mitigates and goes up. So to me, this is going to be my point of interest right here. What happens? Consolidation, manipulation, distribution. Okay. And so yeah, this is where I was actually looking. I actually had an alert set here, and you can see the overlap with the daily order block. So if you're entering right here, your stops here, it's a 3-pip stop. And yeah, you can basically smack that. And first target, again, look at where it goes up to. So this was actually where I was looking at as like the refined level. I wanted to see how price was going to react around here. And you can see it just wasn't the right timing. It happened literally at the news event where it came up here, mitigated that level beautifully, because of course this is going to be a strong high. There's going to be a strong high on this time frame. So you can see here that we get it, and then we have a 15-pip move right there. So that literally could have been, if you took that trade, you would have been up, a decent amount. Right? Let me just see here. It wouldn't have worked out to the full potential, but you can see that this would have been a 9R trade, which is incredible, right? And that happened literally within a span of 10 seconds or 30 seconds during the news event. Of course, I don't trade news events. Like I don't enter on news events. That's why this trade, if you're going to enter on this one's a little bit risky again, because you're entering on the news event. But this is this is where you could have done it as well, right? You have the consolidation, manipulation, distribution, and then it's retesting back into this base, the down close, or sorry, the consolidation that led to this significant shift. And so that's exactly why it rinsed right there. And you can see that there's a nice inducement right below that imbalance, just beautiful order block right there. But it happened during the news, and so I wouldn't be entering in that anyways. This one would have been a viable entry because as soon as it's up to here, again, this is already a 4-to-1. I would probably have taken partials before the news event, just in case, and then move my stop to break even on that one. So that would have been a viable option. And then again, your target on that trade would be all the way up here, right here. So 24R, that was the miss for today that I saw. And so, yeah, again, it's just something that need to learn from, and that's it, right? I mean, not much else you can do. Again, I think I said it in the group. It's like if your trades have sound logic and you give it the best that you possibly can, then ultimately, like, that's a win, and you just keep on going. And if you do that, every day for the rest of the days that you're trading for in your life, then I mean, at the end of it all, you're going to be doing well. And it's just like what James Clear says in the book Atomic Habits. He says essentially to acquire a skill or like adopt a habit or anything like that, it's like a voting system, a democratic voting system. Like, you don't have to win every vote to be the leader of a country. You have to win majority of the votes. And so if you just do the best that you can, and you put in that effort, and you study and you learn and you try and grow and you try and improve a little bit every day, then like that's all that matters, right? You're going to get to that destination. You only need to win 50% of the days in order to win the entire game. And so that's, I guess, my logic on it. And I know today was pretty frustrating, the fact that I missed such a sick move, and it's something that I know with the 3 a.m. sweep and everything. It was just, I was so ingrained in the bias, or so involved in the bias today, that I was unable to make a better decision. So just knowing that was a little bit, it pissed me off a little bit. But again, hey, that's trading, right? It's the thing. That's what I signed up for. You're not going to be right every time. It's just about learning and growing. So anyways, that's my 2 cents. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. Please let me know. Again, I've been loving it. I've been receiving a bunch of comments lately and a bunch of messages on Telegram and everything from you guys. So yeah, super grateful, super grateful for all of you. And if you guys keep letting me know if you're liking the videos, please do. It makes my day, especially on days like this where I just kind of fucked up, So thank you guys so much. And yeah, I'll be back with the next video later. Okay, take it easy, guys.